This is One Sentence News, a daily podcast featuring 3 news stories with a sentence-long summary and 1 sentence of context apiece. I'm Colin Wright. This is a sponsored message. I've been using Anchor as my podcast host for a while now, and it's been a pleasure to use. Anchor offers benefits that most other hosts do not. It's free to use, but it also has a collection of tools that allow you to create a podcast completely within the Anchor website or smartphone app. They distribute your show to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all the other distribution channels without any additional effort on your part, and you can make money from your podcast without any minimum audience size. So you can use it as a more traditional podcast host like I do, but it's also got everything you need to start a podcast from scratch. If you're keen to give it a shot, download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. It's Tuesday, November 22nd, 2022. Let's talk about the news. From Al Jazeera, Turkish jets hit targets in Syria and Iraq after Istanbul bomb blast. The Turkish military has attacked targets in Syria and Iraq, airstriking Kurdish militant groups they say are responsible for a bombing in Istanbul earlier this month. The Kurdistan Workers' Party, or PKK, and its affiliated subgroups are designated as terrorist organizations by many countries, including the US and Turkey, and it was offshoots of their organization that were struck by these airstrikes. Some of those airstruck subgroups, though, the ones based in Syria, have a more muddled international status, as they've at times allied with the US and its allies to fight ISIL, sometimes called ISIS, Islamic terrorist groups in the region. So there's a chance alliances with some such groups against other groups operating in this region will be a bit more complicated for a while. From the Wall Street Journal, Disney stock price surges after Iger returns as CEO. Walt Disney Company CEO Bob Chapek has been replaced with former Disney CEO Robert Iger, following weaker than anticipated financial results punctuated by a huge loss of nearly $1.5 billion for the company's burgeoning streaming service. Disney's stock price jumped not quite 6% on the announcement of Iger's return, adding around $17 billion to their market cap, which is interesting because Iger has been a controversial figure at times for the business-first decisions he's made, though he is generally lauded for overseeing the acquisition of Pixar and Marvel, alongside other big-risk, big-gain bets for the company. And from Reuters, Europe rushes to fill up on Russian diesel before ban begins. An impending ban on Russian diesel fuel has European traders scrambling to fill up their stockpiles before it comes into effect. The EU doesn't currently have many alternatives to Russian diesel fuel, and 44% of their supply comes from Russia as of November, which is up from 39% in October, though it's still down by about half from pre-Ukraine invasion volumes. The bloc went through a similar stockpiling process with Russian crude oil recently, as a ban on that comes into effect next month. If you're finding some value in One Sentence News, consider leaving a quick review wherever you get your podcasts and/or sharing the show with a friend. You can find out more about this show or subscribe to the email version at onesentencenews.com. And you can support this and other related projects, like the Let's Know Things and Brain Lenses podcasts, at understandery.com.